Hey guys, in today's video we are going to create a blueprint for a pivot door so it opens and closes during gameplay, and we are going to do the animation for the handle and add sound to it as well. So let's get started. I've added the FBX files and sound to my Gumroad page so you can download it for free. So let's import that. And by the way, I'm editing the template we created a couple of videos ago. So if I want to use these doors again, I can just create a new project based on this template. And remember, the template is on program files, Epic Games 5.3 templates, and we call it TPAC basic. I'm gonna leave the link here just so you can access quickly. So let's import that, all the meshes and the doors. So I'm gonna go into meshes, go into a new folder. Let's call this structure. I'm gonna give a color of that bluish there. Then I'm gonna open that and create a new folder called doors. And I'm gonna import all of that. So you will find these two sounds here, and this is the FBX. So open it there. I don't need any missing collision. On advanced, I don't need to generate any light maps. And on materials, I always put to do not search and do not create a material or bring any textures. Just for this case, and because I know that it has been named properly in Blender. So let's import all of that. As you can see here, my handle, my frame, and my door. So before we start on the blueprints, I want to give materials to these three assets. So I'm just gonna look for them into materials, instances. I'm gonna start with them. Well, I can start with the woods here. So this is the wood one. I think I can see too much wood there, so I'm just gonna duplicate, create one white clean, and then put it there. So I was just gonna open that and then give a value of 0.05 to the contrast. So it's there, but it doesn't look like as prominent as it was before. On the metals, I'm just gonna use this one here. Probably need to increase the tiling of that, or let's do a clean one, just so it's we don't need to worry about the tiling again. So if go here, use mask for roughness, take that off, save the metal, and then now we have a sort of like a clean metal for all of that as well. Okay, so the door is done. We can go into here. This is the base or the wood, so I'm just gonna shift right click and copy that, then right click and shift left click to copy this one as well. So it has the metal there and it's wood, the base. And for this one, I can just drag that in. Okay, we changed the materials and that is done. Now we can focus on what is important, the blueprints. So create a new folder, call it doors. Let's give a name to a color, to this blue here. Then right click, blueprint class, actor, and let's call this BP doors. This is gonna be a pivot door. And this is gonna be a single one. In future videos, we'll do a dual one. So just gonna drag that in and go and open my blueprint. So in here, you can add static mesh, and that's what we're gonna do. One static mesh, two and 3 because we got 3. This one, let's call this frame. And let's look in here on a static mesh for doors, and this is frame. You can see it right there. This one, it's gonna be our door, main door, so let's add that in. And also this one is gonna be my handle. Same thing, door and handle. But you can see here the handle, let's say the pivot point is centered there in between these two handles. That was done on purpose so we can do the animation with it and not worry about where it sits. So just gonna disable snap. Gonna bring that there. And I don't know if you can see it there, but it's almost center with that plate. So I think a value of 38 by 94 should work fine. And now we can just drag this. Let's compile, let's save. And now if I move to my door, if I rotate it, the handle will follow. So the handle has become a child to my door. So we need a box collision so we can create an event and say to the blueprint every time my character crosses this box collision, it's gonna play the animation. So I'm just gonna I prefer to work with 50-50 in here for the size of for the boxes 10, so I can just drag up 100 and resize these to 2. So it's gonna be like a 2 meter. And for this, I think I'm gonna do 2, probably 3 is better. Compile, save, but take this box out of the frame. We don't want to be as a child of our frame. So before we dive into what is going to be our event graph, I'm going to add a arrow to this blueprint. That is going to be our sort of like a pawn, and everything else is going to become child to this arrow. So let me show you here. So this is my arrow. I'm gonna leave it on 0, 0, 0, everything, the location of that. And everything else, I'm gonna move to that position there. So I would say for what I have tested, let's see if how this opens. So I'm just gonna grab my door, it's gonna go in because the frame is gonna stay where it is. So if I open this, no. You see here the hinges are not working properly. So I need to offset probably the door and the frame. And I think I'm gonna offset that by 2. And let's see if it works better that way. Definitely is better, but I think I'm gonna just move this a tiny bit. The value that I found good was 42.25 just for this case. And this was just me tweaking, placing it and being a little bit a perfectionist to this. So I'm just gonna change this arrow size to 0.5. Oh yeah, now you can see here, I've got that gap there when it opens the door, and it's fit with the hinges there. So it's working beautiful. Okay, now with that set, Now we can start working on event graph. Don't need to worry about the construction script. We are not gonna be working on that. So in here, I can delete all of that and go into box collision. This one here, selected, add an event, and then add on component begin overlap. Add one there, and then when it ends, we're gonna just separate them a tiny bit, just to give us a space to work with all our other stuff. So we want to create let's start from the basics. So let's look for a set relative rotation. I can even pick this one here that is handle. So it just brings my handle already there. And we want to split this because we don't want to rotate on every axis, on everything, just once. So if you go here, right click, right there, split structure pin. And we're gonna check on which axis we need to rotate. As you can see here is my Y axis, so as the green. So probably it's gonna rotate. So this is on the opposite direction. This is gonna be in positive direction. You can see it right here. And I'm gonna change this to 5. Okay, now we can set a rotation on Y. It's gonna be 45, and then set a relative. Oh, don't know if it's gonna look for that rotation of our arrow instead of the door. So same thing again, and we are gonna split this. And I need to rotate on the Z. So if I go into my viewport, go into my arrow, so you can see here is the blue one here, and it's rotating on Z. So for this case, I think I need to rotate on the negative in here. You can see minus 64. So on the negative rotation. Okay, let's do a test and see if our logic is all right, just for opening. Oh, but as you can see here, it got open. There is no animation whatsoever, so it just opens in 1 millisecond or 1 second. So we need to create something called a timeline, and that is going to allow us to create an animation for, so just to smooth things out, and it's not as harsh as that. So I'm just going to grab from this begin overlap and then go for time. I think it's time, add a timeline. So let's call this open pivot door. I'm just going to drag this way just to give me space. And I'm going to go press Control and play from the start in this case. So open that up. You will see here you got to add a track, a length of that track. I can even set the value of already 1.75. It's usually fine. You can change that as well, but let's work from that point. So for this, I'm gonna call this handle and add another flow track, and let's call this door. So my logic here, our logic here is gonna be that our handle is gonna rotate, I guess, till 0.5 seconds. So it's gonna rotate and go back into the original position. So how do we do that? We need to create some keys here. So this one is gonna be on time 0 and 0, value is 0. Then I'm gonna add another one, and this one is going to be time, I guess 0.25, which is in the middle, and then 0.5 as value there. And now, actually 0.5 should, no, I think this is not going to work. This is going to be just, the value is going to be halfway, and add another one here, and then a value of 0 again, and then the time at 0.5. We can soft this animation here, just right click on it, and then it's going to be, change it to auto so you can smooth things out a tiny bit there. Auto is fine, although if you want to just move with the curve, you can also do it at your own style. Okay, so that is done for a handle. Let's compile, save. We're gonna do something for a door, but it's gonna start from this point. So when we do the handle, when we open the handle, the animation, then the door is gonna start moving, rotating. So in the time is gonna be on 0.5, and 0 is fine. And then at 1 second and 75, our value is gonna be 1. And again, we can just do alter here and alter here, just so it's a little bit softer. Okay, let's compile, let's save. So now we need to bring this and multiply this value. So we can create a variable that we can just change when we are working with our doors, and let's call this handle angle. I think this is better. I'm gonna give a default value as 45, and then multiply, just the result of that is gonna go to this one here. Let's make it a little bit prettier there. Now we need to bring this same thing, multiply, then connect to this new rotation. And we can create another variable here. Let's call this door angle. Let's compile that. Let's make it editable, and then the door angle is going to be -90. We can create just a key here and just move it like that. So let's see if our logic is right, and then move. Beautiful. There you go. So if we go out, if we overlap again, it's gonna repeat that animation, and it's quite smooth. Okay, now let's go back to our blueprint here and then do the opposite. And you might be asking why I just don't reverse this. Let's do that. For example, if I reverse this, and let's see what happens there. So when I get out, the handle is opening and doing the animation again. So I don't want that. I just want it to close and the handle doesn't move. So I'm gonna do, basically it's a duplicate of what we done above. So I can copy and paste this, and this is gonna be close pivot door. Play from start again, and now I can just set the relative location here. And let's do on update. So I've got my handle here, and I'm gonna do another multiply for this. But this case, I'm gonna use my door angle here. And this is gonna be, sorry, it's not the handle, it's the arrow. I was wondering what if I'm doing this wrong. It's not about the handle stays the same. The arrow and the door is the ones that move in this case. So it's the same principle in here. And then goes back to Z. But we need to do the opposite in this case here. We need to delete this one. We don't need the handle anymore. For this value, oops, sorry, I just got lost that key there. For this value, it's gonna be the time and 0.5, but instead of 0, it's gonna go to 1. And this, instead of 1, is gonna go to 0. So you got this one that goes that way up, and then from here, when this happens the opposite. So basically this has a value of 1 when it's open, and then a value of 0 when it's closed. Something not right here. Oh, of course, this one goes there. So it goes my door. Now let's see if the logic is right. And there is no handle movement there. Lovely. Okay, now what do we need to do? We need to add some audio to it. So some sound to it. I can drag all of this to this point here. By the way, in here you can see here the default, well, maybe I call it another thing, but you can set the handle angle and the door angle here. I'm gonna show you at the end how that works as well. So for this, we want to add something called audio component. So it's this one, I think it's this one here. And I'm gonna look for a door opens here. So when the door opens, when I overlap that door, it's just gonna play. I need to do the play here. And this is my target here. And I can even adjust the volume if it's too loud. So let's see. Adjust volume right there, and then bring this to this point here. So I think we can leave it at 1, but this is just in case you need to, you are not happy with how the volume sounds and you want to modify this. So you can always add a adjust volume. When you create a blueprint, it's always good to have some parameters that you can change specifically. I mean, for sound, sometimes it's not as nice as the original sound. So in this case, I think it's all right, but this is just a good practice to do. So I can copy and paste this right here. Let's put it in line with this. And this here, and then instead of using pivot door opens, I'm gonna go in close. Let's compile that. I can even create a comment here just to so someone know that what we did here. So let's press C and then open door with handle. This one, C, close door. And this is a sound component. Okay, now let's do one more test. Okay. I think there is some delay there, so I think I'm just gonna change this to 1. So this is gonna start time at 1, and this is gonna be, let's see, 1.4. Just, I think it's a little bit of delay there. And then, beautiful. And close right there. Okay. Well, that is, well, in here I didn't show you this, but for example, minus, let's say 60, and then this opens to 25. As you can see, it is way smaller. But probably you will need to adjust the sound a tiny bit. Oh no, I think it's fine. I think it's fine for that. And the beauty of that is that we can now, on the next project or exercises, we can just bring doors everywhere and start working on them. Okay, so whoops, this is what I got for today. By the way, if you want to, let's say that you want to this on the opposite direction, or opens the other way, just before I go, sorry, you can go into scale and then give a value -1, not this one, sorry, on the X, and you will invert it on the other direction. And the same happens if you do it, for example, -1, you got the door there. Just a small tip in case, I mean, you don't need to do like blueprints to the left or to the right, just with one, and then applying a scale, a negative scale, will do the trick for you. So that's what I got for today. Thank you for watching. Keep creative, keep active, sorry, and hope to see you in the next video. Take care.